just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball. Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
But at the end of the day, all the people that was rooting on me to fail, at the end of the day, they got to wake up tomorrow and have the same life that they had before they woke up today. They got the same personal problems that they had today. And I'm going to continue to live the way I want to live and continue to do the things that I want to do.
Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today. Welcome back to Fanboy Fridays. Fanboys, you are ridiculous, and so is your king. Your life is ridiculous. Right now, with you being a follower of Lebron James, your life is ridiculous. So, let's get into this. I would say, as the face of the NBA, anyone who is deemed the face of the NBA, to me, has a responsibility to at the very least, not harm the game. Now, we would like to think that most faces of the league can leave the game in a better place than when they got it, but that is not always possible, depending on how high the bar was set by the previous face of the league. But at the very least, the face of the league should not harm the game. And to me, this is a really simple thing to do because it's this simple. You simply have to respect the game. You simply have to respect the game and everything that comes along with the game. You have to be appreciative of the game, not take the game for granted. You have to respect the fans. You have to understand that the fans are the reason you have a job. You have to understand that you are in a fortunate position to be able to do what you do, the thing that you so-called love, and get paid for it. However, I would say up until 2003, the face of the league have at the very least not harmed the game. But I would argue that most of the faces of the league had actually made the game better in some way. Whether you're talking about Bill Russell or, whether you're talking about Magic and Bird, of course, if you're talking about Michael Jordan. However, when it comes to LeBron James, this is not the case. This is not what happened. LeBron James has literally tarnished the game of basketball. He has literally destroyed the game of basketball. He has destroyed all previous standards, so much so that I would argue that it shouldn't even be called basketball anymore. They need to come up with another name for whatever this thing is that we occasionally try to watch because we're being told it's basketball. But it doesn't look like basketball. But there are players who I think are at least decent. Now, Steph Curry is one of those players who I have to classify him as the modern superstar. Because while there are things that I like about Steph Curry, there are things that I absolutely don't like about Steph Curry. The number one thing is that he was complicit in, lobbying to get KD to the Golden State Warriors. To me, it's no matter how you slice it, that is an uncompetitive move. But Steph Curry has shown a lot of other things that I do like. If we're thinking about this year, one of them that I can think of is he gave Quincy Olivari a shoe deal, which I thought was an amazing thing to do, considering Quincy is sitting in the G League with the Lakers, having to watch Bronny James get more playing time with the actual Lakers teams when Quincy Olivari is clearly light years ahead of Bronny James. So I thought that was a cool thing to do by Steph Curry to give the guy a shoe deal. But the latest thing Steph Curry did was show that he understood that not everything can be about him and his immediate legacy. Not everything can be about totally abandoning the future for the now. And so this article is coming from the Bleacher Report. It says Steph Curry, Warriors have responsibility not to make desperate trades amid rumors. Having lost 17 of their last 24 games to fall all the way to 12th in the Western Conference, the Golden State Warriors are at a crossroads leading up to the NBA trade deadline on February 6th. Steph Curry said he doesn't want to see the Warriors try to make desperate trades that would jeopardize the long-term future of the organization. Quote, desperate trades or desperate moves that deplete the future, there is a responsibility on allowing or keeping the franchise in a good space and good spot when it comes to where we leave this thing when we're done. Doesn't mean that you're not trying to get better. It doesn't mean that you're not active in any type of search to, if you have an opportunity where a trade makes sense, or even in the summer free agency makes sense, you want to continue to get better. Nobody wants to be stale or in a situation where you're passing up opportunities, but it doesn't mean that you're desperate, just flinging assets around the place just because you want to do something. Curry's comments came after the Warriors suffered a 104-101 loss to a Toronto Raptors team that has the fourth worst record in the NBA at 9-31 and had lost 16 of their previous 17 games. Round of applause for Steph Curry. So, I want to reread this first part of the quote. It says, desperate trades or desperate moves that deplete the future. There is a responsibility on allowing or keeping the franchise in a good space and good spot when it comes to where we leave this thing when we're done. Now, to me, when I hear Steph Curry say that, I not only think about the team. Steph Curry says, hey, you can't do something desperate that's going to throw away your future. In other words, there are going to be players who come after me. In other words, you still have to compete after I'm gone as a franchise. And to me, that is a beautiful sentiment coming from Steph Curry. And to me, I not only think of it in terms of the franchise that you're playing for, like Steph Curry plays for the Warriors, like LeBron James played for the Lakers, and like we have to throw responsibility on the Lakers for allowing the Duck to ruin their franchise many times over. But I not only think of it from a franchise perspective, I think of it from the NBA perspective. While Steph Curry says, hey, we can't do desperate things that's going to jeopardize the future. To me, this also applies to the NBA itself. Players and owners and Commissioner Voldemort, you can't do desperate things that are going to jeopardize the future of the NBA, which is what that's what has happened. That's what has happened during the LeBron James era, is that everything in the LeBron James era has been about the here and now. LeBron James, if you're listening, everything about your career has been completely selfish without regard for the future players that are coming into the league. Yeah, I don't want to hear about the player empowerment which is actually player entitlement. Because everything you have done has created this non-competitive product to which they're trying to every year figure out how to put a Band-Aid on the problem. Because that's what they're doing. They're not actually trying to figure out a way to fix the problem, because the real fix of the problem, the answer is very simple. The answer is very simple to fix the problems of the NBA, and that is holding people accountable all across the board. That is holding people accountable, and that means repercussions that need to be as extreme as they have to be to fix the problem. If that means cutting salaries, if that means you get paid on a game-to-game basis, if that means you get paid on a performance basis, however extreme it has to be. If that means you start taking away stuff, it's like, oh, you're not going to participate in the All-Star game? Well, then we're going to get rid of All-Stars, meaning that you guys aren't even capable of earning the label of an All-Star anymore. That means when you look on your resume in the future and people start comparing All-Stars, they're going to know that you were the generation who ruined it for everybody because they had to take away the All-Star game. And if you're going to take away the All-Star game, to me, you just take away the label of All-Star. There should be no voting for who's an All-Star. You just don't get that label. If that means starting to take away accolades, oh, you can't earn MVP. You didn't play X amount of games, or you didn't perform in this way. You don't earn, you're not even eligible to earn an MVP. I don't care how much stat padding you did. Oh, you don't want to play defense. Oh, that's going to be a penalty as well. That can be it's simple. You hold people accountable, and the measures get as extreme as they have to be to get compliance. But yeah, you're supposed to leave the game at least as good as you found it. Again, not everybody can be Magic and Bird and elevate the game. Not everybody can be a Michael Jordan and elevate the game. But you should at least hold the line. You should at least hold the standard. And that's very simple. Respecting the game and respecting the standards. Another thing that has been a short-term, short-sighted thing that has taken place in this NBA under Commissioner Voldemort is the fact that it's just hard to watch the games. This is the most ridiculous thing that I think I have ever seen. Is like to make your product as hard to consume as possible. Having it divided over so many different streaming platforms that you have to spend so much money if you were actually a person who wanted to keep up with all the games. Whereas back in the day, you had cable, and if you had cable, then you had access to several channels, and you could, turn on WGN, you could turn on ABC or CBS or ESPN or ESPN2, several different places, TNT, to watch games that were all part of the cable network. But with this, you actually have to subscribe to several. That is completely ridiculous, Commissioner Voldemort. And again, this is a short-term thing because you thought about how much money you could make right now, but not thinking about the future, not thinking about these ratings, not thinking about that the next time it comes to negotiate these TV contracts, they're going to look back and be like, well, we paid you this much and people weren't watching. So, yeah, we got a problem here. Again, I've said this before, and I will say this many times on this channel because I believe it's something that people don't consider enough. People take everything for granted. And one thing people really don't fathom. They always think, oh, well, it's rules in place and it's this in place that won't allow, but the worst can happen. Nobody believes the worst can happen until it happens. Nobody believes the worst can happen until it actually happens. Everybody thinks that the NBA is safe. Oh, well, the NBA makes so much money right now, it's impossible that they would go out of business. That can't happen because, everybody would like to think that. But you look throughout history at the things that have crashed that no one thought would happen. It can happen. All it takes is you being completely oblivious to the fact that it can happen. That's all it takes. And you keep going down the same path that is making things worse and worse. So LeBron James has made the game worse. LeBron James has made the game an uncompetitive, super selfish thing, because everything that Steph Curry said about, hey, don't trade away my future, don't trade away your future as a franchise for me, because you have to exist after me. There will be players who come to the Warriors after me. Everything that Steph Curry said is the complete 100% opposite of what the Duck has done his entire career. Fanboys, there is no excuse that you can make for this level of selfishness, except for the fact that you guys are all selfish. This is what it really comes down to. Let's go ahead and say it. You guys are all selfish. And not in the sense that, yes, we as human beings, we are all selfish in different ways. But you guys have no idea of what it is to look out for something greater than yourself. You guys are completely okay with being a vampire in the NBA and sucking it dry without thinking about the future players who are going to come up behind you at all. Give me as much money as I can, and if the NBA collapses, well, I got all I got. Not thinking about the future players at all. LeBron James has not thought about the future players of the NBA at all. He'll say he has because he's a politician. He'll say he has because he knows what sounds good. At least he thinks he does. Half the time, he sounds ridiculous. Half the time, it's more like 90% of the time. LeBron James sounds ridiculous anytime he gets on the mic. Rich Paul needs to hire a mic snatcher for LeBron. Every time somebody get ready to put a microphone in front of LeBron, somebody needs to be hired to just snatch it away. Say, I'll answer questions on behalf of LeBron James. But LeBron James, for his whole career, has tried to say the right things. He says the things that sounds good. He says the things that he's heard people like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant say. He says the things that tries to make himself look as if he's cut from the same cloth, when clearly his actions have shown that he's not. He says things like, oh, well, you have to bury me and cut my head off and bury me 10 feet deep before I ever quit. When he quits every game. Let's be real. At some point during every game he quits, even if first of all, he doesn't play defense. So, I mean, that's a quit every game already. But LeBron James has never had that consistent, relentless spirit that a Kobe Bryant has had. And everything he has done in the game has been 100% about himself and about his fake legacy. LeBron James, let me tell you something. Anything that you do and have done truly doesn't matter, because the people who know that your legacy is manufactured, we don't care. If somehow you were able to win 3 more championships before you retired, nobody would care except your fanboys. Because we already know your legacy is manufactured. Your legacy has been one where the commissioner has helped you every step of the way. Your legacy has been one of the opposite of what Steph Curry said. The opposite of, hey, don't throw away your future on me. Your legacy has been, hey, throw away everything you got. That's what I expect, because it's all about me and all about my legacy and what I want people to say about me. Anyway, we gonna hold up here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think of what Steph Curry had to say about, hey, you cannot make desperate decisions that's gonna throw away your future? What do you think about the fact that Steph Curry is unselfish enough to want the Golden State Warriors to still have a future after he's gone? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly, truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.